bouncer over Weston's head. Here comes Bill Ripken, a great play. Got him! And this is hit deep to left. Jones is back, looks up, kiss it goodbye. The infield is in with a runner at third and one out. Bouncer to first. Cal Ripken's going to try to score. Kittle's throw it. He's saved.
Yeah, we just scored. No, I didn't see Kevin get hit. Kev, you okay?
I wind up in the hospital, and Bob gets a winning goal.
I couldn't let Kevin miss the party.
I was having a pretty good time where I was.
Friends deserve the best.
Friendship. Just being there.
The crisp, clean taste of Canada's best beer, Labatt's Blue.
I have to be flat on my back to get Bob to buy me a balloon.
Between friends, it's true blue. Labatt's Blue.
Right now at Jiffy Lube, you'll get great service and great savings with the Pennzoil Car Care Savings Book. It's filled with coupons that can save you over $80 on helpful car care products. And it's yours free with any oil change using the world-class protection of quality Pennzoil. So come by participating Jiffy Lube today. Get a fast, professional oil change with quality Pennzoil and your free Pennzoil Car Care Savings Book.
Tuesday is Ladies' Day at Jiffy Lube. Come by for a 14-point service and a special surprise just for the ladies.
This graph shows how ordinary gasoline builds up deposits on intake valves. On the road, it can cause hesitation, loss of performance. But when Texaco System 3 gasoline was used, valves actually got cleaner. On the graph, it looks like this. On the road, it looks like this. After 5 tanks, it gets even better.
The Montreal Canadiens skating off the ice with a Stanley Cup. The road to the Stanley Cup continues here on Home Team Sports. Washington Capitals with the only 2 goals of that second period. They lead by a score of 2-1. Jeff Rimmer back at our Home Team Sports studios. And it's time, as always, here in the second intermission for the scoring track, sponsored by Track Auto. 1 goal in the first period, 10:41. Millette from Gartner and Nichols. And that for Millette, his second of the playoffs. Then it was Berglund with his first of the playoffs, first Stanley Cup playoff goal. Sheehy and Tucker drawing assists. Then at 19:13, the Caps on the power play. Druce with his 10th of the playoffs. Hunter and Stevens drawing assists. And the Caps lead it by a score of 2-1. Well, a familiar face back here in Washington for these Stanley Cup playoffs, formerly with Channel 4, now at WABC Television in New York, Scott Clark. And Scott, here to cover the New York Rangers, but you must have some mixed feelings here, having covered the Caps for all those years in Washington.
Right, I was here for 5 years, and I got to know a lot of the Capitals. Some of them are gone, though. I mean, we got Mike Gardner now with the Rangers, but to see all these guys and come back and see Roddy Langway and see Scotty Stevens and all these guys, it's nice to see them. And I got really a liking, a loyalty with the Capitals, but they end up with the Rangers now. I can't root for the Cleveland Barons. I'm from Ohio, and the Barons are no longer there, so I had to pick somebody. But I usually stay objective anymore. The Rangers, Islanders, Devils just keep you busy just doing hockey.
What are your thoughts on tonight's hockey game?
I thought the Rangers came out and did what they had to do just to start out the game, because they had to get some intensity, because they were just taken all over by the Capitals in the last game on Monday night. And they had to come out and show their force. So they had to do some forechecking. Because they were just showered. I mean, Mike Richter had no chance. 49 shots against him in the first the game on Monday night. They had to come out and show intensity. They did that, and they held the upper hand until the second period. You could see it starting to switch a little bit, and you could see that the Rangers were becoming a little more tentative. And that really told the story, too, when the penalties came down, and then the Capitals scored and take the lead.
What are your thoughts? Is this the year the Capitals finally maybe make it to that Stanley Cup?
You know, I think all the Capitals fans are ready, finally, for this thing to happen. You know, I think of it a few years ago when the Capitals were just about ready to be taken out of here, you know, and it was the Save the Capitals campaign going on. And now, many years later, and many frustrating years later, they're finally got in a position where they look like they could beat just about anybody, especially with what they did Monday night was just unbelievable. Now they're getting it back again. They've got great intensity. They're playing just great hockey, and this is a team to contend with.
What is the feelings of the Ranger players and the management that you've talked to while you're here in Washington covering the series?
The feeling with the Rangers is that they were embarrassed totally by the game on Monday night. That they were just completely outplayed and out-hustled. And I was asking some of them, so how can you come in with a game that means so much has so much importance to it, and play like you did, and play so flatly like you did, and have the Capitals just all over you? And they said it was just a matter of, we don't know. We just came out there. We thought we were ready, and we weren't, and the Capitals took it to us, and they earned the victory, and they convinced us that this is a team to be reckoned with, and maybe we were a little bit overconfident in Game 1. After we took that first game, maybe we thought the Capitals weren't that much, and we were that good, and now we found out that we aren't as good as we thought we were, and the Capitals are better than we thought they were.
Scott, good to see you in Washington.
Good
Come
to
back
see you.
again.
Thank you.
Scott Clark, WABC Television. Will continue with our second intermission. Stay tuned.
So aggressive, it mastered Germany's treacherous Nürburgring. So spirited, it has 4 valves per cylinder. So serious, it only comes with a stick shift. The BMW 318 is back. With a vengeance. Introducing the BMW 318 IS.
So what would have been so terrible if I had a small fortune?
If I were a rich man, all day long I'd biddy-biddy-boom. If I were a wealthy man, hey, I wouldn't have to work hard. All day long I'd biddy-biddy-boom. If I were a wealthy man, I wouldn't have to work hard.
Hey, guys, look what I found.
To protect the members of this household, every smoke alarm gets a Kodak Ultralife battery. Kodak Ultralife batteries last up to 5 years in smoke alarms. In fact, because they're made with lithium, they last twice as long as any other batteries in the world. If they're good enough for this household, shouldn't they be in yours?
Who slimed your car?
You want to wash it?
Get real.
I'll take you to Hardee's for a hot, tender, juicy, awesome roast beef sandwich.
Watch this. 3, and he got a deal.
3? Okay, deal.
Guys, lunch is served. Yes! How about some fries, bro?
It's a long walk home, Jeff.
Now you can get a regular roast beef and crispy curls for just $1.99 at Hardee's. Is that hot or what?
Lazarus borealis. Didelphus marsupialis.
Many creatures in the animal kingdom come out at night.
Tyto alba.
Some are more exciting to watch than others.
It's a 2-1 Washington Capital lead here at the Capitol Center. Welcome back once again to Game 4 of the Patrick Division final round. Mike Fornes and Al Koken rejoining you once again here on our live exclusive Stanley Cup playoff coverage. I'll tell you, the Capitals keep showing the depth. They keep reaching down and finding the players to come up with the big goals, and Tim Berglund sure got them on the board. John Druce continues his winning ways with a goal that the Rangers thought was a bit controversial, but the Caps will certainly take counted, and I think Dennis Morel made the correct call in allowing the goal, and they shut the Rangers down. More pucks hitting the post. Yeah. Washington comes out on top. Only 20 minutes to go in this contest.
Well, they got a bit of a break in their first goal, though Tim Berglund certainly made a quality goal out of it. A lucky bounce worked for him. Let's start by showing you the Capitals shot chart. You'll see where their shots came from. Obviously, more shots in that first period. Still, the majority of them in the 2 goals they get coming from towards the right side of the ice, but they were able to get a little more pressure in there, and once again, they did a nice job of just continuing to drive to the net. Now, they get the first break is when Neil Sheehy, off this face-off, it's won cleanly by Tucker. We'll just start up ice. All Neil Sheehy is looking to do is dump the puck in and let Tucker, let Joyce, and let Berglund go chase after it. But when he throws it in, it hits the skates of Ron Greshner. Greshner freezes for a moment, and that allows Tim Berglund to come up with it, and off that right wing side, puts the far side past Richter, and gets the Capitals even in the game. Then the Capitals get a break. They get 2 penalties to work with, so they've got a 5-on-3 advantage. Right
right up here at the top of the slot is Scott Stevens. Keep your eye. Courtnall is here. Hunter is here. Watch Druce come into your picture. But look how the Rangers play it. They've got one man back, and it's going to be these two players who start to go up towards Stevens. That means you've really left the front of the goal very wide open. Now stop it here. You see, Hunter's been knocked down but gets up. Here comes Druce into your picture. But look, both Rangers are out there. You've only got 3 players to begin with, so that means Mark Hardy is the lone man back, and when Stevens gets this drive through, look at how the Capitals jump to the front after this rebound. High shot, it gets knocked in there, but before Hardy can take it out with his stick, John Druce gets it in, and you see there, John Druce's stick was below his shoulders, but when you've got a 5-on-3 situation, invariably you have one penalty-killing forward out there, you play yourself in a triangle, you keep 2 men down in front. The Rangers did not do it, and the Capitals took advantage of it with a huge goal to give themselves the lead. And remember, they've got more than a minute of power play time to work with when they start period 3.
New York certainly got rolling in the second period in the shot department. As we take a look at their shot chart, you can see that they had quite a few shots, again loaded on the right side, but we can remember many of them that tested Liut.
Some good ones that tested Liut, a couple that found the goalpost, and I think about Liut robbing Troy Millette on a New York Ranger power play that kept the Capitals in the game at that point.
We'll return with a third period of tonight's contest right after this.
Advantage Jeep vehicles. Others copy, none compare. Advantage Eagle. New looks in performing art. Advantage Savings. Guaranteed cash back on Jeep Cherokees. New Eagle Premieres. Hot new Eagle Talents. And Jeep Wranglers. During the Guaranteed Advantage Sellathon, the only advantage you don't have is time.
See your National Capital Area Jeep and Eagle dealer, where you can expect the best.
As soon as customers walk in our store, they smell aroma, and they rush right over to the bakery. I don't think people realize that we make all of our cakes and our breads from scratch. Every day at 4 o'clock, we have French bread come right out of the oven hot, and people love it.
To see someone come up to the bakery and purchase something that I've made personally, it just gives me a feeling on the inside that, wow, that's nice.
Now how am I going to get there? It'll be great to see the guys again. I wonder if they'll all show.
Friends deserve the best.
This is great. They all showed up.
The crisp, clean taste of Canada's best beer, Labatt's Blue.
What took you so long?
I had a little car trouble.
Between friends, it's true blue. Labatt's Blue.
This graph shows that your car can drive better with Texaco's System 3 gasoline. In the BMW test, ordinary gasoline built up valve deposits, but System 3 actually took them away. Tank after tank, valves got cleaner and cleaner. As for performance, after 5 tanks, it gets even better.
Washington Capitals game coverage on Home Team Sports is brought to you by Safeway. Come see the difference at Safeway. The Caps lead the Rangers 2-1 with 20 more minutes to go in this game. Before we face off, here's Jeff Rimmer.
Thanks, Mike. As the Washington Capitals come out onto the ice behind me, I can tell you that over on the Rangers side of things, there's some concern. The Rangers not at all pleased with the way things went in the tail end of the second period, and we're trying to get an update for you on the condition of Troy Millette, who left the ice just before the conclusion of the second period. When we get official word, we'll pass that along, but there seemed to be some concern over on the Rangers side of things to find out about Troy Millette. We'll get word on that and a lot more here in the third period. The teams are back on the ice. Let's rejoin your play-by-play crew of Mike Fornes and Al Koken. All right, thank you very much, Jeff. Looking out at the ice, can you see Troy Millette yet, Mike? I don't see him out there right now, though there's a congregation in front of Mike Richter. Well, something's going to happen tonight in terms of streaks, omens, if you want to call it. We told you how the Capitals were 0-3 in this playoffs when they trailed after the first period. But when they lead after 2 periods of play, the Washington Capitals in the postseason are 5-0, while the New York
York Rangers, when they trail after 2 periods, are 0-2, 4-0 when they lead after 1 period. So something's got to give tonight. The Capitals could go a long way. I said they had more than a minute. They've got just a little less than a minute to work on the power play. They still have 58 seconds to go on the Randy Moeller penalty call. So the Caps with an opportunity to give themselves some insurance right off the bat here in period 3.
This one's been a real nail-biter. The only goal from New York coming back in the first period. The Caps get 2 goals in the second. Both goaltenders are looking sharp. Neither one of them is shaking at all, so here comes Millette back now, and he's back on the ice, so all the principles that started the game are available to finish it.
Here's a guy who will start shaking some people. He has been a dominating performer tonight. Really have to say this has been Troy Millette's best game so far, although he has played pretty well in the series. But Troy Millette has been a major factor, and if he is okay for the Rangers, he is going to get a ton of ice time down the stretch.
James Patrick fires it off the boards and sends it back inside the Washington zone. We're underway with the third period. The Capitals leading 2-1. They've got a power play for 40 more seconds. Here comes a lead pass ahead to Kevin Hatcher. Hatcher gets across the blue line. Walks into the Rangers zone. It's clear to the point, but not out. Now Courtnall going for the puck, and he should have allowed Druce to play it. But instead it bounced out of the zone to center, and Stevens is back to get it. Now Hatcher, left side Courtnall, across the line for Druce. John Druce to the corner, and Mark Hardy works to the blue line, kept in by Hatcher. Now a centering pass, wide into the corner. Hatcher tries to keep it in. Hunter hustles out to the point and plays it over to Jeff Courtnall. Time running out in the power play. Here's Courtnall with the puck. Over to Hatcher, a wrist shot, deflected on goal for a goal! Only 2 seconds left in the power play. And the Capitals have done exactly what you said they should. They scored on 1 power play to close out period 2, and they open period 3 with a power play goal to lead 3-1.
And look who does it. Once again, number 19, shaking himself free of the check. I think he gets that final little piece of it. John Druce was right in front of the net. The Capsode Mike did an absolutely amazing job of keeping the puck in. Hatcher, Courtnall, Hunter, all of them involved in keeping that puck in, and all Kevin Hatcher did was flip it in front where John Druce fought himself away from the check of Norman Rosendorf and gets his second of the night, 11th of the playoffs for a 3-1 Capital lead.
Slap shot on net. Liut the save, and he covers up. Big save by Mike Liut, stopping a Ranger comeback.
Well, the Capitals got themselves crossed up, and Mike Liut saves them. The Rangers had an opportunity to grab the momentum back their way. You see that change. Millette, as he has all night, drilling the shots in. Mike Gartner there for that rebound, but Mike Liut gets a piece of it, covers it up with his arm, and Mike Liut has been dazzling in the Capital net. He protects this 2-goal Washington lead.
Number 11 of the playoffs for John Druce, his second power play goal tonight. Hatcher and Courtnall assisting, only 56 seconds into the period. Washington's lead is at 2. Here's a drive from the point, and Liut saw that the whole way. Now Langway to center, gets across the blue line. Flips it wide of the net. Leach firing off the side of the goal. Ridley trying to poke it in front, but Nichols takes it away and clears it all the way back out to center ice. Kevin Hatcher. Checked by Millette. Ridley backs up into his own zone. Off the boards for Steve Leach. It gets away from Leach, and Rochefort holds him up. Now Kelly Miller. Back to the blue line. Kevin Hatcher leads it left side for Ridley. And Ridley pokes it all the way down, back inside the Ranger zone. 18 minutes to go. Third period. Caps leading 3-1. Mike Fornes with Al Koken and Jeff Rimmer here on Home Team Sports. Wrist shot. Liut the save. Rebound back to James Patrick. He tries to center it. And Stevens takes it away and backhands it out of the zone. Lindy Ruff back to chase it. It'll be an icing call as he touches the puck.
Joyce piles into Lindy Ruff against the backboards after the icing call is made. You're watching the Stanley Cup playoffs on Home Team Sports.
It is a race from California to New York to win America's favorite light beer. It is the Tour Delight. Here comes the Jamaican bobsled team, Flecko and White, and of course, Run DMC.
Hey guys, I know a shortcut. Follow me.
Well, there goes Woody Harrelson. They all want to win the less filling beer that really tastes great, Miller Lite. And so, it's on to New York.
Canada. All right. What's on the map?
Boy, don't stand too close to this guy. You'll get burnt. He is red hot. It's unbelievable. Who would have thought when you look at the Capitals in the playoffs, if you had asked somebody, even just as late as February, that John Druce and Tim Berglund would be the guys to get the key goals in this hockey game, in a critical game for the Capitals, what kind of odds you would have gotten there? But John Druce has been dynamite with 11 goals. Tim Berglund got things started for the Capitals to tie it up. And now they have got a 2-goal lead to work with. This New York Ranger team continues to press.
The Ute makes a save and kicks it away to the corner. Here's Kissio, and it gets away from Mullen, chased all the way back to center. You know, early in the season, it wouldn't have been unusual to think that they might have gotten the key goals in a Baltimore playoff series.
Yeah.
But they have done a great job here. Here's a penalty call coming up. This will be against Washington. And the Capitals will be shorthanded. And John Druce is headed off the ice here with a minor call for hooking at 2:49.
Most cars are designed specifically to handle this, the sales curve. The BMW 325IS is influenced by curves of a slightly different nature. Before you choose a car engineered for the whims of the marketplace, consider one designed for undulations of a far more relevant variety.
John Druce has to sit it and watch right now. Capitals, because of his hooking penalty at 2:49, come up strong again against this New York Ranger extra man unit.
They don't want to let the Rangers back into a one-goal game. Patrick back to chase the puck. He's out there with Turcotte, Gartner, Millette, and Nichols. Hatcher dumps it right back in.
Now the Caps just kind of hanging back in the neutral zone, stacking up the blue line. They're not going after the Ranger defensemen as they start up ice. They're picking them up in that neutral zone and then laying back. And that's the second time now the Caps have picked off passes and dumped it the other way.
Here's Gartner to the point for Millette. Now over to Turcotte. Berglund twisting Millette off his skates. The puck picked up by Hatcher. He clears it ahead to Rob Murray. Murray short-handed with Berglund. Left it across the line wide of the Ranger goal, and Richter plays it in behind the net. Off the boards, and Turcotte back to chase it. A minute to go in the Druce penalty. Here comes Turcotte to center. Left side for Nichols, throws it toward the net. Stevens picks it up, and Scott Stevens flips it end over end all the way down the ice. Rangers change up the line with 40 seconds to go in the power play. Lead pass out to center ice. Kelly Kissio turns and skates to the blue line of Washington. Flips it across the line. Ridley steals and clears.
Well, with the Caps stacking up to the blue line, the Rangers have got to dump it over them and down the corner and hope to beat them to the puck. But they're not. That little flip from Kissio is more like a playmaking flip and not a dump flip, and Ridley was able to pick it off.
Now Stevens again gets some wood on it and dumps it right back out to center ice. Again, the puck stolen by Kelly Miller. And he clears it all the way down. And as the penalty expires to Druce, the Rangers haven't had a single shot on goal on the power play. Washington at full strength. Can't ask for any better penalty killing than that. Here's a Ranger rush and a shot blocked by Hatcher, picked up by Dale Hunter. Right wing pass. Here comes Kortnoff. In across the line. Inside the Rangers zone, drop pass, Hatcher walked in, a shot. Deflected just wide. Into the corner again for Kissio, and played off a high Ranger stick, and as Rochefort touches it, the whistle blows.
Now the Caps are going to have an opportunity, Mike, with New York opening things up to try and come back with some 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s of their own. We're only at Capital Cadillac, and you experience the Capital commitment, featuring lifetime lubrication, oil, and filter change with the purchase of your new Cadillac. Capital Cadillac, located on the Capital Beltway, exit 23 in Greenbelt, Maryland.
Tonight's game sold out, 18,130. And the way this team is playing right now, there's a distinct possibility that there would not be a Game 6 in this series that would be played here in Washington on Sunday night. The Caps would have to finish off the Rangers Friday at Madison Square Garden to accomplish that.
Think about this, Mike Barnes. If the Capitals win tonight, they are guaranteed of playing the first game ever in the franchise's history in the month of May.
That's right. Very true. And their first, by that, of course, their first game in the conference finals. Boston and Montreal, by the way, tied 1-1. The Canadiens facing elimination tonight at the Montreal Forum. At the point, here is Patrick. Stolen puck, John Tucker ahead with Almay. Tucker across the line. Tucker shoots, and a save by Richter. He juggles the rebound, and it comes loose right in front. Just away from Patrick to the corner now, and May goes back to get it. He throws behind the net. The puck cleared up the boards and taken by Kerry Wilson out to center. Here's Kissio rushing in after it, or rather King rushing after it, and he's checked by Neil Sheehy. Now Stevens to Tucker, can't clear it. Gartner races after it. Mike Gartner for New York. Turns a sharp corner, walks in, and loses control. Alan May flips it out to center ice and puts it back inside the Ranger zone. The puck dumped back inside the Washington end. Here's Rod Langway off the boards and to the point. Kept into the by the Rangers, and that's offside as Gartner was trapped in the zone and then touched the puck. We'll have a face-off in neutral territory with 13:15 to play in the third period.
Well, Nielsen has got to keep his top two lines, the Ogrodnik, Kissio, Mullen line, and Gartner, Millette, and Nichols out there as often as possible. With 13:15 left to go. Try to get the odd change every once in a while with Kerry Wilson, Erickson, Chris King, buying a little time, but to play catch-up hockey, he's got to keep those key people out there. But already, we've seen the Rangers dropping a defenseman deep, bringing that fourth man in, and the Capitals have had a couple odd man breaks because of it.
Kevin Hatcher back at his own line. Leads the pass out of the zone to center ice, and Randy Moeller is back to get it. 13 minutes to go, third period. Washington leading 3-1. Here comes Bernie Nichols. Dumps it into the corner. Hatcher up the boards for Leach. Millette got a stick on it, but now it comes out to Ridley. He feeds to Miller. Back to Leach on the right wing. Here's Leach cutting in from the right side and can't get by Lindy Ruff. Still has the puck in the corner. Now tumbles to the ice. And Ruff plays it to the blue line, but not out. Kept in by Ridley. Into the corner, and Ridley, or rather Ruff, is back to get it as Ridley heads to the bench along with his line mates. And new Capitals come out there now. Back inside the Washington zone, Bob Rouse tries to slow up Bernie Nichols and touches the puck with his skate. That's an icing call as the Rangers have dumped it in. The faceoff comes back to the New York zone with 12:13 to play in period 3.
With Roger Nielsen trying to keep his top two lines out there, one thing I've seen Terry Murray doing, he's got his fourth line out there, Rob Murray, Nick Kyprios, Alan May. He's trying to keep fresh people going out there, trying to wear down this New York Ranger team physically. This line has been throwing some heavy hits and been getting in deep, trying to punish those Ranger defensemen, which has been a factor in the New Jersey Devils series, and so far has also been a key point of the Capitals' success against the New York Rangers. Capitals reverting back to that neutral zone checking game, not sending anybody in real deep, swinging back to the neutral zone, having at least that third man back to stand along the blue line, and defying the Rangers to shoot it down past him and go chase it.
Here comes John Ogrodnik to center. Launches it into the Washington zone off the glass, and now it's played behind the Capitals net. Bob Rouse to the corner. Rob Murray in to throw a hit. Murray digs it out, now goes in to bump Kissio. Mullen checked on the play, and Murray plays it up the right wing boards. Back into the corner again for Mullen. He gives to Ogrodnik, stolen by Murray. Ogrodnik hit by Murray on the play, and Mullen struggles behind the net. He works the puck loose to Kissio. Kissio right in front. Liut makes the save and feeds it to Berglund. He empties the zone, brings it out to center ice for May, and May gets an elbow right across his face from Rochefort. Again, the Rangers dump it in. Langway's back for it. This will be an icing call, and there's the whistle to return the faceoff to Ranger territory.
Well, the Rangers had some decent pressure in the Capital end, but the Capitals never really let themselves get loose. Never let a man get free in front, and once that shot did come to the net, Mike Liut had the answer. That takes care of about 45 seconds. That's 45 seconds more off the clock. Then the Rangers ice the puck. So right there, you've got a minute off the clock. The Capitals have to keep thinking it's shift by shift. Darren Turcotte now out there. Mike Gartner doing a little double shifting. He's out there as well. Chris King comes up to play the other forward. He'll be on that left wing side between Turcotte and Gartner. Let's check in. Yep, we'll check in momentarily with Jeff Rimmer. But Tucker's out there now with Joyce and Tim Berglund. Tucker will take this draw against Turcotte.
Caps win it. Here's Berglund, a quick shot. That's up off the glass. Now back into the corner. Berglund ties up alongside Joyce. The puck strikes referee Dennis Morrell, but he's not injured. Play continues. And back comes King to dump it into the Washington zone. Here's Tucker to the corner. Plays it off the boards. Langway throws a hit. The puck comes loose to Gartner, but he gives it up to Joyce. And Bob Joyce starts back with Berglund. Here's Joyce. Long slap shot blocked by Greshner on the play. Joyce hustles in. He's tied up on the backboards by a pair of Rangers. The puck comes loose over to Turcotte. He has it stolen by Hunter. Dale Hunter walks it over to Drews. John Drews, a slap shot. Save! Rebound! Kicked wide by Richter. Now chased by Hardy on defense. And Hardy moves it out of the zone to center ice. Sheehy puts it right back in. Getting away from Courtnall, and it's taken up now by Paul Broughton. Here comes Broughton to center ice. 10 minutes to go, third period. Capitals lead by 2. 3-1 the score. Sheehy up the boards, beyond Druce to center ice. And Rochefort tangles with Druce. Now Broughton takes over. Here comes Paul Broughton, flipping it into the Washington zone. Scott Stevens back to collide there, and the puck bounces right in front of the net, but right to Dale Hunter. Hunter comes back. Left side pass. Picked off. May reaches for it. Can't get it. We have a penalty call coming after a collision between Rochefort and Hunter. Sheehy back to take it. It's going to be a Washington penalty. And the Cap penalty killing unit, which has been flawless in this game, will be tested right here.
Well, let's check in now with Jeff.
Thanks, Al. On our Washington Post scoreboard, bear in mind the Washington Capitals here have a chance to move up 3-1, but there is a team facing elimination, and that is the Montreal Canadiens. They now have a goal. They're second of the game and lead the Boston Bruins, who lead the series 3-0. It is 2-1 now. Montreal in the third period. Baseball at Memorial Stadium. The Oakland A's winners last night. The Orioles are bouncing back, and they're now in the 8th inning, tied at 3-3. We've got Orioles baseball for you tomorrow night here on Home Team Sports, beginning with the Orioles report and Tom Davis at 7 o'clock. First pitch tomorrow night, 7:35. All the action right here on HTS. Back upstairs to Mike and Al.
All right, Jeff. Well, another dangerous situation here. The Capitals taking their second minor penalty of the period. A roughing call to Dale Hunter. He gets in there with that elbow high on Norman Rochefort. Time of the penalty, 10:33.
Hatcher clears to the point, but not out. Kept in now by Hardy. Hardy to the corner. Langway back to get it. Rangers 0 for 8 on the power play so far tonight. And the Caps again clear this all the way down the ice. Here comes Patrick up to Nichols. Dumps it in. Ridley's over after it. Works it loose and clears it down the ice back into the Ranger zone. Patrick turns and starts out. Ridley picks it off at center. Back to Hatcher. Hatcher finds open ice and dumps it back into the Ranger zone. At the blue line, taken there by Moeller. Off the skate of Nichols. And back is Scott Stevens. Stevens bounces it out to center. And again back to the Ranger line. Down to a minute remaining in the Ranger power play. Here's Gartner. Up ahead, a pass, slap shot, save Liu. Rebound picked up by Hatcher. Out of the zone. 45 seconds left in the New York power play attack. Caps lead 3-1. Rangers dump it in. Here's Mullen. Turns to avoid Stevens. Centers it. Liut plays it away. It's loose. And Druce clears it to the corner. John Druce. Off the boards. It went into the Washington players bench and bounced off the glass right next to Jim Hrivnak, who is here as the backup goaltender tonight from Baltimore, with Don Beaupre out of the lineup. The lone Ranger shot on this power play, Al, has come from outside the line. You'll recall that on the last extra man advantage, the Caps kept everything away from Mike Liut.
Well, this is why they're getting that nice rotation, getting people as fresh as possible, and because they are playing the Rangers aggressively, at least in the neutral zone, and standing up very well, they're not giving the Rangers that opportunity to penetrate and set themselves up for clear shots. And when those pucks go into the corners along the boards, a Capital right after it, and just not allowing any type of calm activity for the Rangers. By being so aggressive like that, it's forcing the Rangers to hurry their passes, and they're not setting themselves up well. The Capitals' penalty killing has been near flawless.
Time running out on the power play, but here's another try, and a shot blocked by Liut. Rebound kicked wide by Stevens. Back to the point. Penalty's over. Slap shot just wide of the goal. Hunter rejoins the action, and the Caps are at full strength. Here's a centering pass for Obradnik. Save Liut off the chest. Back to the point. James Patrick a shot. That's knocked down, and Bob Rouse clears it out to Hunter, and back to neutral ice. The Caps once again successful in killing off the Ranger power play. Ridley ahead to Hunter. Hunter throws it inside the New York zone, and both teams change up the lines. Here's a lead pass ahead to center. Hatcher breaks up the play. Off the glass and out to center ice. Chris King starts another Ranger rush. He dumps it into the corner, and Liut lets it settle in behind the goal. Here's Langway to get it. Up the boards and all the way down. This will be an icing call as Hardy goes back for it. And there's a whistle to bring the faceoff back to the Washington zone with 6:26 remaining in the third period. And the Capitals in the lead over the Rangers 3-1.
Advantage Jeep vehicles. Others copy, none compare. Advantage Eagle. New looks in performing art. Advantage Savings. Guaranteed cash back on Jeep Cherokees. New Eagle Premieres. Hot new Eagle Challenge. And Jeep Wranglers. During the Guaranteed Advantage Sellathon, the only advantage you don't have is time.
See your National Capital Area Jeep and Eagle dealer, where you can expect the best.
6:26 left to play in this third period. The Caps on top 3-1. They've killed off another New York Ranger power play. They were very aggressive again, but at the very last portions of that power play, Mike Liut had to come up strong. He has been terrific all night long. I think easily the best Mike Liut has looked in these playoffs. He is giving the Capitals dynamite goaltending and has stopped 28 of 29 New York Ranger shots to this point.
Here's Scott Stevens out to Tim Berglund. Left side pass. Kortnall breaking down the wing. Looking in front to Berglund. Turns a corner back at the blue line and now throws it in behind the net. Dale Hunter back to get it there. Darker tries to work it loose. They jam up on the play and it comes right out to Berglund. The backhand shot saved to Richter. Now a tie up along the sideboards. And here is Hardy. He brings it ahead to center ice. Hardy dumps it across the line, back inside the Washington zone. Played ahead for Hunter on the right wing. All the way out to center now for Berglund. And Berglund dumps it back in the Rangers zone.
So, Mike, one of the other areas Mike Liut has been so effective, he's moved the puck extremely well when the Rangers have been forced, and they've been forced most of the night to just dump it in. Liut has really helped out his defense by moving that puck or setting it up for him in a very nice position. That is one of the other values that Mike Liut can bring this team.
At center ice, Kerry Wilson takes it for the Rangers, and now Bob Joyce works it free, but it comes right back to Wilson's stick. Wilson across the blue line. Dumps it in behind the Capitals goal. Liut's out of the net, makes the play up the boards. Here's a shot, deflected wide. Over to Steve Leach on right wing. Joyce pushes it on into Ranger territory. And now Moeller back to get it. 4:45 to play, third period. Washington leading 3-1 here in Game 4 of the Patrick Division final round. Sheehy to center ice and dumps it again into the Ranger end. Rochefort starts to center. Here comes Sheehy. Off the skate of King, taken over. Hustling in. Here's a penalty call coming against Washington. And this will set the Rangers up with an extra man advantage here for 2 minutes of the final 4:15 remaining here in the third period.
Well, I don't know if Neil Sheehy tried to dump it in and it hit a skate. It looked to me like he tried to drop a little pass back, and that's a dangerous play. Here comes Sheehy. Now he's across that line, but look, he tries to drop it past. I think trying to buy himself a little more time, get a little more time, but it sets up Mullen. Not much of a hook, but it is called. And once again, the Rangers have another chance to climb back to within one. Capitals cannot continue to give the Rangers these opportunities. Let's go down with Jeff Rimmer.
Thanks, Al. The news continues to be very good for the Washington Capitals organization. Word from Rochester as they start play in the third period. The Baltimore Skipjacks leading Rochester 3-2. That series is tied. They come back to Baltimore for Game 6 Saturday afternoon, 1 o'clock at the Baltimore Arena. Again, the Skipjacks leading early in the third period, 3-2. Back upstairs to Mike and Al.
You know, Al, when you look at the power plays that the Rangers have had, Washington has taken the last 3 penalties in the game and the only 2 penalties here in the third period. And that is playing with fire on one hand, but on the other hand, you also have to remember how well they're killing off penalties. And by that token, maybe it's not a bad frame of mind to think if they can continue that sort of power play, it takes 2 more minutes off this clock and gets this team that much closer to the final seconds of this game. And it looks like John Van Beesbrook is now going to be inserted by Roger Nielsen for these final moments. Now, here's an attempt to stir his team up. An unorthodox one, though, for sure.
I guess so, because a guy coming in ice cold, what happens if the Caps, who have had a couple of nice short-handed chances already tonight, come in and catch Van Beesbrook flat-footed? Very interesting, but, you know, you're right in the point you make, Mike. The other thing, too, is the Capitals get themselves in such a determined mode right now. They don't relax when they're killing off these penalties, and it's a situation where you just get so emotional as a team when you come off a big penalty kill, and it's something that's really juiced up the Caps in this third period. But I still would rather be playing at even strength if I'm Terry Murray. And if you've got the opportunity, like Neil Sheehy did, just dump it in. Don't try and do anything too fancy. Because you know this Ranger power play, just if it's the law of averages, something's got to click.
Van Beesbrook is 2-2. This is his 5th playoff appearance. And he comes in totally cold here, and we'll see how he does if the Caps contest him. Hatcher moves it to the line. Miller gets tripped up. Hatcher's been hooked to the ice. Here's a shot. They score. The Rangers score on on the power play, and it's now a 3-2 game.
And the Caps, I think, have got a pretty legitimate gripe. Not only Kevin Hatcher, but another Capital twisted down to the ice without a penalty call. If that last hooking call to Ridley was a legitimate penalty, then Kevin Hatcher being taken down, and I think Dale Hunter being taken down, should have been called by Dennis Morrell. But regardless of what you feel, there is no question that the New York Rangers power play has put them right back in the game. Now watch what happens. Look at Kevin Hatcher out going towards the puck. You see a blade of a stick. I think it's Ogrodnik has got Hatcher pinned right in the hip. He's taken down on the ice, and that should have been a penalty call. Certainly no different than what Ridley did to Mullen to set up that New York Ranger power play. But the Rangers do come back, and John Ogrodnik gets Liuk to move, puts it past him on the other side, and they are back to within one, and there is a huge amount of time left with 4:03 remaining in the game, and Mike Richter coming back to the net. I don't understand that little maneuver at all, but whatever it did worked for the Rangers as they are back in it.
Roger Nielsen's been watching so many videotapes, he probably took a page out of Mike Keenan's book in Chicago. Patrick, the assist on Ogrodnik's sixth at 15:57. Ogrodnik, that is his third power play goal of the playoffs. The Caps still lead by one, and the Rangers will be pulling Mike Richter out of the net in favor of a sixth attacker as we get closer to the final minute of the game. But Richter is back in there now as Van Beesbrook is pulled.
You know, the other thing I'm wondering, Mike, could they just wanted to give Mike Richter a chance to get to the bench, get some fluids, get things settled down, have a little instruction, a little talk with Mike Richter, figuring that the Capitals would not get much of a scoring opportunity in front of Van Beesbrook, give them a little time to talk to Richter and work things out, but particularly when if it stays like this, they're going to have to pull him.
I don't think so. I think that whole move was to spark up the Rangers and maybe to make the Capitals think a little too much about carrying the puck shorthanded. You might be a little more eager to try and shoot on a goaltender that's cold. And when you're shorthanded, that could cause the Capitals to take chances. But it never worked out that way as the Rangers scored on the power play. Gartner over to pick it up on the right wing. He rushes to center ice, and Ridley steals and leaves for Leach. Back inside the line, Nichols out to center. 3-2 score. Washington has the lead. Richter is back in the net as Van Beesbrook was only on for the power play. Now Richter plays it off the corner boards. Here's Ridley. Back to the point. Now Miller, a drive and a save. Rebound left in front, and Richter knocks it to the corner. Been nothing wrong with Mike Richter's play and goal in this contest. Back to center ice. Here's Scott Stevens. Clears it all the way back inside the Rangers zone. Just under 3 minutes to play, third period. Lead pass out to Nichols. Dumps it into the Washington zone. Here's Kevin Hatcher back to take it. Hatcher up the boards for Tim Berglund, and he flips it off the glass and all the way down the ice. Back goes Mark Hardy to take it. Hardy for New York. Up the boards for Ogrodnik. In across the line is James Patrick weaving in, tries to get past Langway, and Liu makes a stand-up save. Langway clears the rebound. Here's Berglund chipping it out of the zone, and with the help of Hunter, it goes all the way down the ice. And this will be an icing call as Hardy is in to touch it. So we have 2:18 left in the third period, and a face-off back in the Washington zone.
Still about 50 seconds away from thinking about yanking Mike Richter. But another key draw here, and I know Dale Hunter would like to get a bit of a blow. He has been out there, but I would think that Dale Hunter would be the man that Terry Murray wants to take this face-off, although Mike Ridley will come out now. Ridley, Miller, and Leach will work the line.
Van Beesbrook was in the net for 42 seconds and was not tested with any shots. Richter's the man in there now, and we expect him to be vacating that Ranger goal crease about a minute from now, perhaps. But here's the face-off coming now in the Washington zone, and Kissio leans in to work against Mike Ridley.
Bowler and Hardy working the points.
Rangers control the draw, and here's Ogrodnik to the corner. And a hand pass, stopping play as Ogrodnik dropped it for Kissio. They'll do it again. This time they're going to move the faceoff out of the zone.
Big break.
And that will help.
Ron Finn, the linesman, making that call.
Cleared back inside. Washington ice, and here is Scott Stevens to take it. Plays it up the boards, too far for Leach. And all the way back inside the Ranger zone. And this will again be an icing call as Hardy is back to get it. Now we have less than 2 minutes to play. Right now this clock is working in favor of the Washington Capitals, and I don't think it matters how they do it, but if they can chop that time frame down 10 seconds at a time, 15 seconds at a time, 30 seconds at a time, but get it down to the point where they are forcing the Rangers to make a move and pull Richter out of that net.
Now Dale Hunter comes back out to take this faceoff, brings Druce and Tim Berglund with him. Kissio remains out there with Obradnik and Mullen. Hardy and James Patrick has come out to replace Mueller. Capitals giving Wayne Bonney a bit of an argument, saying that Stephen Leach felt he touched it and that Mark Hardy did as well, and it shouldn't have been an icing call.
Rangers have the draw. Back to James Patrick. He walks in and now feeds it over to the other point man. Hardy, a high drive. That's knocked loose up the boards and cleared back into the Ranger end again. Patrick forced to play it. Berglund, the lone forechecker, in, and he eyes Patrick, who starts out, now passes over to Hardy. Hardy leads it ahead to center. Kissio has had his helmet knocked off, and he puts it back in the Washington zone. The puck played there by Druce. Back to the point. Hardy at the side of the goal. Bounces wide of the Washington net. At the point, Mueller, a shot deflected wide. Chased behind the goal, and Stevens to get it. Now Rouse gets into a pushing match with the Ranger captain Kissio. The Washington net has been moved, so play is stopped. And I think Dennis Morrell is about to call some penalties here if Kissio and Rouse don't settle down.
I think Rouse may have done the smart thing of shoving Kissio into that net to dislodge it because the Capitals were caught scrambling. Keep an eye on it. Kissio showing a lot of determination, been playing quite some time without a helmet. He gets involved in collision with Liut, and there Rouse takes him into that net. That's when it comes off, although the Capitals did have possession. Still, it looked like it would have been an icing clear. They would have gotten a few more seconds off the clock, but the faceoff still would have been back in the Washington end, and Mike Richter still is in the net with 1:22 left to go. Nichols now will be out there to take this faceoff. Gartner, we would think Millette should come out. Now there's going to be a timeout taken by the New York Rangers as Nielsen's got to decide if he needs to pull Richter right now. Seems like the opportunity with the faceoff in the Capital end, Mike.
Well, Stéphane Lebeau has a pair of goals, his first two of the playoffs, and that gives Montreal a 3-1 lead over the Boston Bruins as the Canadians try to avoid being eliminated tonight on their home ice. How about that finish last evening between the Edmonton Oilers and the Los Angeles Kings? We've got a couple of former Kings on the ice for New York in Mark Hardy and Bernie Nichols. And without Wayne Gretzky in the lineup, they still took the Oilers to overtime, but wound up being beaten 4 straight. I would not have predicted that. Nope.
Taking the way the Kings played so well against Calgary. But right now, Mike Richter, who has faced 24 Capital shots tonight, looks like he's still going to remain out there. Maybe Roger Nielsen waiting to see if the Rangers can control this draw. Although he has stepped into the Ranger bench right now. He's starting to make the move towards the goal. Now he's stepped back into the Ranger bench. And the Rangers do have 6 players out there. Gartner will be out there. Turcotte, Kissio. We see Patrick, Obradnik, and I think Mullen. No, Bernie Nichols. Bernie Nichols out there. So Turcotte and Patrick will work the points. Turcotte, remember, is a natural center, but does work the blue line on power plays. Mike Ridley comes out there in place
where Don Druce normally would be. With Kelly Miller out there as well, so the Capitals have got two centers. Kissio, who has won the last two draws, will take this faceoff against Hunter. He'll try and get it back to Patrick, with Turcotte jamming in. Patrick really the only defenseman back there.
The Ranger net is empty. And New York has 6 attackers on as Hunter leans in to work here against Kelly Kissio. False start as Ridley came in a bit too soon.
Well, what Ridley's trying to do is cut in there, and if this draw is neutralized, be the man to pick up the puck. But that's exactly what Darren Turcotte is also trying to do. Now, Ridley's got to come in and take this face-off. Nichols will come in to do it. And see Turcotte there, just to the right of your screen. He's going to try and come in if Nichols can neutralize this draw.
Thrown to the backboard. Possession here is everything, and Kissio comes up with it. Centers it. The Rangers score. They count the goal. The red light did not go on. This game is tied. The red light never went on. But none of the Capitals are protesting this at all.
And Mike, I think this really goes right off Kevin Hatcher and up into the Rangers. Watch this centering pass. Hatcher's in front. It goes right off Kevin Hatcher, and there's where Bernie Nichols, I think, takes one whack at it off the pads of Liut. No question that it's in. The New York Rangers come chasing down. Ogrodnik pushes it down to the corner. Now watch this centering pass right off the skates of Hatcher, right to where Bernie Nichols can take a whack at it and pop it in.
There's no question the puck was in the net. But the red light did not come on. The goal judge did not turn the light on. But Dennis Morrell, standing right there, made the correct call and awards Bernie Nichols his 7th playoff goal.
Well, the Caps have had breaks go their way, and they've had one go against them there. Kevin Hatcher looked like he was in perfect defensive position, but when that puck bounced off his skate, put it right onto Liut, and he couldn't cover up on the dangerous Bernie Nichols. That 6-man strategy of Roger Nielsen's pays off, and he has got this team back in the game, tied at 3, 1:12 left to go. And unless one of the two teams can pull something very late, the New York Rangers have forced overtime and have got everything going their way.
Here's Langway to get it now in behind the goal and starts out. A minute to play in the 3rd period. The puck dumped back into the corner. Here's Rochefort back after it. Plays it ahead to center ice. Langway fires off the boards back into the New York zone. 45 seconds left to go. 3rd period of the game. Here's Kevin Hatcher. And off the boards all the way back inside Ranger ice. Mark Hardy back to chase the puck. The Rangers have scored the last 2 goals of this contest. Ogrodnik and Nichols. Here's Courtnall to dump it back inside the line. Washington had a 2-goal lead. Now Patrick up to center. Into the Washington zone. Stevens is there to take it. Scott Stevens checked on the play, and icing is the call now. Or offside, rather. We talked about breaks so much during this broadcast. There was a very terrible break for the Washington Capitals.
Well, it was a terrible break for the Capitals, but let's give the Rangers plenty of credit. They chased down those loose pucks. Ogrodnik beat Langway to it. Then in the corner, Kissio was able to get to the puck before any of the Capitals. He banged it in front, got the bounce off Hatcher's skate, but there was Bernie Nichols to do the rest. Bernie Nichols, who's been shut out since his hat trick in Game 1, finally gets on the board again, and what a huge goal that proves to be, as we look like it's overtime for the Caps and Rangers in Game 4.
Ogrodnik and Kissio at 18:48 on Nichols' 7th of the playoffs. Out to center comes Hunter. Time runs out, and we're headed for sudden death overtime. We'll take a full intermission break here. And the New York Rangers and Washington Capitals will go to an extra session to try and solve this contest, which is tied right now at 3 goals aside. Shots on goal in the 3rd period for New York, 12, a 3-period total of 32. And Washington coming up with only 5 shots on net, and their 3-period total is 24. More live exclusive hockey action in the Stanley Cup playoffs coming your way after these words on Home Team Sports.